Yes.
What make you busy this day?
Well, I'm always busy because I'm still working from home. So for me, it doesn't make any difference. Actually, I think I'm working more now. So how about you? How are you with your students online?
So far, I don't have students, my private online classes, but I keep doing our Facebook group every Saturday. We always have meet up,
Mm-hmm.
and so far these days, there are a lot of students or challenger join in the group,
Mm-hmm.
and yes, they're really engaged in our live weekly meet up. They're always participating,
Yeah,
and
I've seen it. What time is it usually?
usually I choose in the evening around 8 to 9 p.m. 8 or
Mhm.
9 p.m. Usually we always have meet up at that
For
time.
you, right? 8 for you.
Yeah, or sometimes 9.
Oh,
That,
okay. So it would be like 8 here.
yeah, yeah, because we have 12 hours different. And last Saturday, we had 12 members join
Mm-hmm.
the live weekly meetup. And yeah, it took more than 2 hours and a half for us
I
talking about
know. You
that
know,
topic.
that's the problem. I join a group too on WhatsApp. Usually we talk every Saturday, but usually I don't stay the whole period that they're talking because it just takes too long,
Uh-huh.
like
Yeah,
more
that's true. And
hours.
mhm. And if you really want to listen to their opinion about the topic, it's really nice because we are sharing about our perspective. And yes, you can also interact with the other challengers, and it's really
Yeah, it's good. Well, I know. I mean, for those who are just staying at home, they don't have anything else to do. I mean, if I was just staying at home without anything important to do, I would be, very glad to participate and connect with people like that. But the thing is, I like group calls, but I don't stay that long because I don't have that time. So I prefer to talk individually, like because then I talk for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, and that's it. But usually we have this group that I participate every Saturday. Usually, I mean, we were doing every single day for the past month. But usually I don't stay during the whole period because it takes too much. Only like 8 people, and it takes like more than 2 hours. That's a lot of time. So, but yeah, usually I just stay like 1 hour the most.
okay.
But
Yeah,
it's nice.
hold on, please. Just wait.
Okay.
Okay, I'm back.
Oh, well, that was fast.
Yeah, yeah. And yes, it's true. And then this week, it's really nice topic because this week our task giver. I think if you read our Facebook group,
Uh-huh.
Lee, Lee, she
Yeah.
is our task giver this week, and then she gave us very professional challenge this week. So it seems like the Stefanie online courses because I also joined the Stefanie courses now, and then yes, I gave them some ideas. So
Oh, that's great. So how do you like it so far, Stephanie's challenge?
yeah, more on seems like before more on doing the homeworks, doing the tasks, and you don't give you the right feedback what you have to improve. Seems like you
Uh-huh.
are showing, and yeah, you have to do your best to improve yourself. Nobody
So,
praise you, so and then you cannot connect with the other. learners, like in the group that we can connect and interact, like we did live weekly meetup. So
Uh,
it's up to you. If you're really diligent, then you have to study, self-study. It's really
uh-huh.
nice because she provides the good,
Material.
yeah, materials and all the video, and she explains well. So it's really nice to study. But doing like video call, or it up to you if you can approach the other members, then yes, you can practice with them.
Uh-huh. Yeah, well, it's interesting. It sounds like she forces us to study more. I mean, that's the point. Not that she's going to correct you, but she just forces you to study more by yourself. Well, I think it's interesting. It's an interesting course, but I think it's expensive. I mean, if you pay for the whole year, that's okay. But for us Brazilians, it's awfully expensive because dollar is like almost 6 times more than dollar, or than our currency. So for $1 we pay like 6 reais, which is our currency. So that's so expensive. It's like if you were paying, for example, like $200 per month, because it's $20. So no, it's 120, of course, plus 6.
Expensive.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah,
God.
so that would be expensive. So for us, I mean, if dollar was one by one, like $1 and $1, that was okay. I mean, 20, it wasn't expensive. But the way it is right now is awfully expensive. And also, if you have to pay for the whole year, it's not cheap either, because it's like almost $100. So it would be like 600. So for us, it's expensive. I think she could have charged less than that. Like, it's expensive because she gives one task per week, and then we have to do by ourselves. I mean, the only thing she's doing is she's making us to study. She is forcing us to,
Yeah.
force to study by ourselves. But I think, yeah, and she could have charged less than that.
Yeah, yeah.
Now this period of
And
quarantine.
and I think if you avail her course from the first time, because she has promotion, like you can get some discounts, like $99 for a year.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I paid $99 for the whole year.
Yeah, no, yeah. Well, if it was 99, if our currency was 1 by 1, it would be okay, 99. But that's what I'm saying. It's almost 6 times more. So even 99 is expensive. So for us right now, it's awfully expensive. So yeah, but I think it's always good. She is a great coach, and if you are available to do it and you can afford it, that's great. I mean, we always learn with her.
Why not? All right. So, by the way, did you read our topic?
No. What is that supernatural thing?
No, no. I sent you before. That is all about the beauty.
Oh, no.
On your message, maybe you can click on it, and then you can search that one. There are a lot of questions here. So,
Oh, okay, yeah.
mm-mm.
Do you think beauty is the same for every person? Do you think that different cultures think
Okay.
about beauty differently?
So, what do you think? Do you think beauty is the same for every person?
Mm,
Hmm?
no, I think everybody thinks differently. For example, I'm going to respond to the second one. Do you think that different cultures think about beauty differently? Yes, because in Arabian culture, they think that fat women are beautiful.
Oh, really?
Yes, like if the person is very skinny, the woman is very skinny, they think it's ugly. But here in my country, if you are fat, you are considered ugly. So people don't like fat people. So I think it's a totally different kind of point of view. Like in the past, if you see all those pictures of, those women when they were painted, they were all fat. They were not skinny. All the women were kind of fat, and that was considered beauty at that time.
I see. And also here in Korea, if the woman is really fat, it's ugly for them. But if
Yes.
it's really skinny, oh, they like it. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's why usually Korean women here is very skinny, and they love always exercising and diet. And yes, they don't like legs are really fat, really thick.
But are there many Koreans who are fat? I
Yeah,
want to see that
usually if
too.
yeah, some of them if especially if they already got married, and then yeah, there's a tendency they are getting fat. But usually if they are single, usually they are so skinny. And
Uh-huh.
hmm,
Well, I think the same thing here in Brazil. Like when you are single, you want to look good and all that. But I think when people get married, they have the tendency to relax. Like they don't care much. Like, oh, I think they get used to each other. I don't know what happens in their brain. But
yeah,
usually people, they get married and then they just don't worry so much about their appearance anymore because they are ready with the person.
yeah, definitely. So they don't care about their physical appearance. So,
Yeah,
mm-mm.
but I think that's a wrong thought because when you get married and you get used to each other, but if you don't take care of yourself, your husband or your woman is gonna eventually going to start looking to other people.
Yeah, start looking to another person because my husband or maybe my wife doesn't care at all, and then yeah, so there's a possibility that they are looking to another person.
Yeah, I mean, if it's I think it's something natural of the human being. You are attracted to,
Mhm.
by the appearance in first place,
Yeah.
and then if you don't like the appearance of the person, you're not gonna even want to talk to her, right? So yeah, but I think nowadays people are more aware of that, so they're taking more care. Some of them. Especially here in Brazil, like especially men, when they get married and then they drink beer here a lot. Everybody likes beer, and beer is something that is really bad for you, for your belly specifically, because then you get
Yeah.
big belly. It
Yeah,
gets so
exactly.
expensive that it's so big.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Especially man always drinking a beer and alcohol and um, cigarettes, so their tendency of their fats
Right.
getting bigger like
And
Santa.
it's terrible, and I think it's horrible. A man. Sometimes a man is so handsome, and then you look at that big belly. It's terrible.
Yeah, you turn off.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. hmm So let's move to the second question. What do you think of plastic surgery? What do you think?
Well, well, I think if you're not too obsessed about it, it's worth it. I mean, if you have something in your body that disturbs you, and then you can't live with that, and then that's okay. But some people just get so obsessed with surgery, with plastic, they're never satisfied with anything. And then I think it's a psychological problem. It's not just physical, because no matter how many surgeries they make, they just still feeling they're ugly, they're this and that. So it's like a psychological problem.
And yes, also having a plastic surgery is not good for your body, for your health, because maybe when the medicine fade, expired, you have to do it again.
Again, yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, it's really dangerous, especially when you get old. Because there are usually here in Korea there are a lot of people who had no sleep and face they are doing like V shape or maybe their eyelid. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
and
Well,
yeah,
I think
if you
especially
can
on the face.
if you can afford, then you can do whatever you want because especially here in Korea, there are a lot of high technology, especially for cosmetic and plastic surgery. So you cannot recognize if this woman surgery, plastic surgery, or natural because things like natural or similar with natural beauty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
You mean,
and
you
it's
mean with
usually
the
here in Korea, it's common to have no sleep, even though they just finished their high school. Some parents they give their daughter or their son as a present to them. When they go to university, wow, they're
that's
really
totally
good.
different.
Yes, and they have eyelid because usually they don't have eyelid, and yes, they usually have surgery with their eyelid and nose.
Uh,
And yeah, it's really good. I think Korean cosmetic and plastic surgery are very high technology, so it's compared with other country. Sometimes it's not good the result. Yes, yes, but not too much. My daughter asked me if she can watch my phone while
does
charging.
she does she speak English too?
Now she speaks Korean.
Oh, because we talk to her in English. Not
Yeah,
too
but she
much.
understands when I talk to her in English. She responds me English sometimes or Korean, but she understands me when I talk to her.
Ah, okay, yeah. Yeah, but surgery on face, I think, I don't know, here in Brazil, I think you can tell when the person, made a surgery on her face. So it doesn't, most of them, I think, doesn't, most of them don't look natural.
Uh-huh. But I think Brazilian usually has long nose and beautiful face. So I think you don't need to do surgery. Like you have to have no sleep or big eyes or eyelid because I think usually Brazilian are perfect for me.
Oh, no. But especially when they're getting older, like they do eyelid and nose. Many people, I think Brazil is one of the countries that make most surgeries. There is a great amount of people here who
Oh,
go,
really?
yeah, who go on the surgery.
Surgery. Ah, I didn't know that one because I think usually Brazilian are very pretty and has always has a long nose compared by Filipinos. We are
Uh,
small and yeah, usually Asian people, only few people have a long nose, I think. But European, American, Brazilian, Mexican, I think they're all perfect.
oh no. Okay, here. Brazil is the second country in the world that makes more surgery.
Oh, I see, I
Second
see.
country in the world. Let me see. I think United States is the first one, I suppose.
United States?
Isn't it?
I
Let's see.
think Korea, maybe. I think Korea. I think, yeah, I can see it.
Oh, look at that.
Mm-hmm.
Japan and Mexico.
Oh, really? Mexico?
Yeah, but I think United States the first one. The first one, yeah, United States and Japan and Mexico are also the rankings. I think it's the third. Yeah, well, I think nowadays people are not satisfied with that. Sometimes you see beautiful people, like you say, why is this woman doing a surgery? Like, she's so pretty, but then she doesn't think that way. She wants to do something else, that some defect that you don't see.
Yeah.
Usually we see the defect that others don't.
Yeah, I think so. And anyway, not just only face, but they can do a lot of surgery about their body as well.
Yeah.
Yes, for their hips, for their boobs, or their
Even the butts, they put butts.
yeah. It happened also in the Philippines. There were three gay had a surgery on their butt, and then when the medicine expired, their butt is really ugly,
Flat.
and yeah, it dropped. So they're really beating
Oh my
and
God.
worried. So one thing is there is also one gay who is wealthy. He is rich and help them to do
It's
another surgery.
Oh my gosh, that's terrible. Yeah, that's horrible. Wow. I mean, when the surgery goes well, that's fine, But those surgeries that don't go well, it's just terrible. They suffer a lot because then they get worse than they were before.
Yeah, because they don't contented about their natural beauty.
That's
Yeah. Okay, so what about this one? What is the most common plastic surgery in your country?
country. Well, I think it's breast. People put silicone.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I see. In the Philippines, usually also breast and nose and yeah, sometimes butt. And
Oh,
sometimes also they call that lipo because if you have a lot of belly fats, you're going
uh-huh,
to remove it. Yes, they're do surgery and trying to remove your fats. We call
uh-huh.
it lipo.
Yeah, liposculpture they call it, right?
But here,
Liposculpture.
but here in Korea, usually nose, eyelid, and I'm not sure what else. Their face, they want to have V shape. You don't like if they have big jaw,
Uh-huh.
V shape.
So do they have to break the bone or what?
Yeah, I'm not sure how they did it
Oh
because
my gosh, this must hurt a lot.
it's really terrible because if they have big jaw like this, flat,
Mm-hmm.
they want to have V shape. So
Uh-huh.
Mhm. And they love to have small face, big eyes, long nose.
Oh, right. Everything that Korean don't have. Like big eye.
Yeah. But I like real Korean people that who has small eyes, small face, and natural beauty without any doing any surgery.
Uh-huh, of
But
course.
Korean people, they love big eyes. It's opposite, right?
Well, human beings are never satisfied with what they have or what they look like. This insatisfaction is deep inside of us because we are all deformed because this is not our real world. So people are different from each other, and then for example, in a society they establish that beauty is the woman who is very skinny and has long hair and straight hair, and also then they sell this idea, so everybody starts to believe in that. So what the media says is so powerful over everyone because people just believe in everything. I mean, it's just that you listen that so much during your entire life that you start to believe that this is true.
Yeah, also sometimes, usually social media can influence people.
I know.
Yes, us. And yeah, you're trying to believe what the social media trying to tell to anybody. That's
Hmm.
right. People are trying to change everything about their physical appearance.
Yeah, there were some people who were trying to change this idea that media was trying to do. Like, for example, the models, they had to be so skinny that, it was considered beauty to be so skinny. But then they started doing some campaigns against that, saying, no, why models have to be so skinny? That's out of reality because people are not like that. Usually people are not so skinny. And they started to change this idea of, that models didn't have to be so skinny. Because if they do that, if they change this idea just for normal people, not, I mean, you don't need to be fat, but you don't need to be so skinny either. And
Yes,
then I think people will be more happy with that because what happens is, especially teenagers, they see those skinny women and then they try so hard to be that way and they even get sick because they're trying. It's not healthy. So they should change this idea that skinny is something healthy. It's not healthy. I mean, it's not healthy to be fat, but it's not healthy to be skinny,
yeah, yeah.
that's
Yeah, it should be normal, or yes, not fat, not too skinny. It should be.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah, definitely. I
And
agree.
then with this, yeah. And then people just live with with this fantasy that those people are happy and they're so skinny and they are beautiful and then that you're gonna see they have a miserable life because they cannot eat anything. Can you imagine these models? They don't eat ice cream, chocolate cake. I mean,
Yeah.
some good pleasures in life.
Yes, we only live once, so we have to live to the fullest.
Yes,
Yeah, but
that's
not really exist. Just we have also limitation. We should know our limitations. So
hmm
yes, not too much. So yeah, that's why. But I don't know. A lot of people never contented and never satisfied. They keep looking everything, especially if they have a lot of money. They can do anything about their body. So yeah, but we cannot blame them. That's their nature or maybe behavior.
yeah. It's,
Maybe feel
there are
happy.
some people who make like 30 surgeries. That's absurd. Because
Yes.
they will never be satisfied with their body because the satisfaction is deep inside them. So they're not gonna be satisfied just making surgery. It's just a suffering because then you have to rest. You cannot do this. You cannot do that for a couple of days.
Mm.
Wow, that's a terrible thing. I think.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so how about this one? What does beauty only skin deep mean? Do you have any idea about this?
Beauty is only skin deep.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay, so
Well,
this. Mm-hmm.
I've
This.
never heard that, but I think it's
Uh-huh.
beauty is only skin deep. Ah, okay. It's just superficial. It's something superficial.
Like for example, if you have if you are so beautiful, but your behavior is opposite, you're pretty,
Uh-huh.
but your behavior is bad, so
Uh,
it
it's just
doesn't make
outside.
sense. Hmm.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I think that I consider a person beautiful is when the person is beautiful inside out. Because sometimes you see some people who are so beautiful. This guy is so handsome, but they're so disgusting. Like you don't even want to talk to them. So they don't. And then this beauty all comes down because what is that beauty for? I mean, if you're not um, if you're not so, how can I
Afraid?
say, kind with others.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah. So what do you think? What is the most important, beauty or behavior? Which
Behavior, of course, because sometimes even if you're not beautiful, but if you're so polite and you have a good behavior, I think one of the most quality that I think in a man is when he's polite. I think it's so beautiful when a man is polite, and it's even if he's not handsome, but it makes him look better than he really looks. Like, I think he's more handsome when he's polite. Because when a man is just convinced, like he thinks he's so great, he thinks he's the best and all that, it's just, it's so disgusting. I don't even want to talk to them because it's really annoying, this kind of people. So what is all that beauty for? I mean, for me, there's no value at all.
But you know what? Men, they prefer woman who has beautiful face, has a bad behavior. Compare ugly woman and bad behavior because they think that behavior can change. But if your face is ugly, you cannot change unless you go through surgery.
Yeah, but that's something completely wrong because nobody changed their behavior. That's a mistake that we oftentimes we believe that, oh, maybe you're gonna marry someone and then this person's gonna change, and this person's not gonna change. Nobody changed because they get married. I mean, you can change a little bit, but not so much, because that's the way you are. That's your nature. So people think that, oh, okay, I'm gonna marry with this guy and then he's gonna change. No, he's not gonna change.
Yeah, maybe it depends how you handle your marriage or how you handle that person.
Yeah, I mean, it can change, but not so much. For example, I have a friend who dated a guy for about 2 years, and he liked to drink a lot during the weekends.
Uh-huh.
And then when she told me that she was gonna marry him, I mean, I knew she was suffering with him already because of this. He would rather be with his friends during the weekend than being with her. And then when she told me, said, "Are you crazy? You're gonna marry with this guy? I mean, he's not gonna change. Now he's gonna bring all his friends to your house during the weekend. Can you imagine that? You work all day long during the whole week, and then during the weekend you're gonna have to put up with all these drunk people." And then she said, "No, no, he's not gonna do that. It's gonna be, it's gonna be just once in a while." And and guess what happened?
It happens now.
Yeah, of course. And
Yeah.
to get it worse, and she had a child, with him. And of course, it's a mess because can you imagine you raising a child and your husband drinking during the whole weekend with his friends in your house? Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, yeah. So disgusting, right? I also
Well,
have a friend like that his her husband always drinking a lot. She can't stand it anymore, so they live separately.
mhm.
Yeah, is he cannot do anything. Always drinking or drinking every single day.
Oh,
But
oh.
sometimes he likes really drunk and no power to stand up, but he keeps drinking a lot. Oh, it's really terrible.
Oh, but in this case, it's better because they live separately. Because if they
Yeah,
live together, it would be worse because then you have no place to run. Like you have to stay in your house.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
So I think
So
it's very important for the person to really know who you are getting married with, because as soon as you put someone in your house, and then you have to put up with that, because there is no way you can say, "Oh, okay, go away." it's his
Yeah.
house too. But I think nowadays the best thing to do is just live in separate homes, live separately, because then
Yeah.
if you're not in a good mood, say, okay, I want to be alone, just go to your house, and it's so much easier.
Yeah, you have freedom, or you have boundary. You can
Yeah.
do limit. You have limitation. So okay,
Uh-huh.
you can drink a lot in your house.
In your house, get out.
Yes. Yeah, I think so.
But
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people are doing that nowadays here in Brazil. Many people are together, but they're not living together. They live separately because then it's. I think it's a way to live. I mean, to last longer your marriage or your relationship. It can last longer if you live separately, because then you have your space, you have your freedom. It's not that you're gonna do anything like you're gonna go out and you know
Fine.
meet someone. Yeah, no, it's not that. It's just because you have your space, you have your house, and I think everybody needs that space. Living alone, it's not being alone. You're living alone, but you are with someone else, and that doesn't mean you are lonely or anything. I
Yeah.
mean, I love being alone in my house, living alone. But I don't feel lonely.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah, that's true. Because sometimes when you be with someone every single day, every morning, you always see that person. Sometimes like, oh, I don't have time for myself. I have to be with him. I have to be with her all the time. So yeah, much better if you have
Your
space.
space, yes.
Yeah, why not? You
You
have
can
freedom.
watch you can watch TV and put it on the channel you want, and
Yeah.
there's some small little things that makes your life better. I prefer to live by myself now that, I mean, I could experiment both situations. I was married and for 8 years. It's not that my life was bad, it was good, but comparing to what I have now, of course, I prefer my life now. I think it's lighter. I feel much more, free, and I don't have so many responsibilities,
Yeah.
so much responsibilities. And I think it's much lighter, to be by yourself. And then you have a boyfriend, you go out with him, you see him, get along with him. But, when you want to go home and just, it's the best sensation in the world when you come home and, for example, when you travel and then all of a sudden you come back and then you get in your house just by yourself and just relax. And if you want to sleep, you sleep. If you want to wake up, you wake up.
Yeah.
Come on.
Very nice line, right?
We cannot complain.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. What kind of beauty contests are popular in your country? Do they have beauty contests meant too?
They have like the Miss of the State, like the
Like
Miss of the
Universe?
State,
Miss Universe?
Miss Brazil, Miss Universe. Yeah, they participate in all that.
Also in the Philippines, we always won the beauty pageant like Miss Universe. Last 2018 was the Miss Universe Katrina Gray. I'm not sure if you heard her. She's Filipina.
Uh-huh.
Katrina
Yeah.
Gray, she won the Miss Universe 2018, and then 2016 was Miss Universe Pia Wartzbud, also from the Philippines.
Oh, wow.
Hmm.
See?
We
That's
are
beautiful
very
in there.
famous. We're very famous in terms of beauty contests. Miss World, Miss Universe, Miss Earth, and yes, there are a lot of. I think there are, because usually there are a lot of Filipinos married with another country, so her kids are mixed. So the beauty is really seems like, it's mixed beauty. It's really beautiful.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah, I can see her here. She's beautiful. Wow. She has long hair, brown hair.
She is also, I think she's also a model and
Hmm.
designer. I'm not sure. And yeah, she's really tall and skinny and really has perfect body and very stunning when she runs to the runway. Katrina Gray and Pia Awards, but and also there are a lot of Miss Universe pageant. I don't know before won the Miss Universe.
Hmm.
So how
Oh,
about? Mhm.
you know, she looks like a Brazilian here, Amazonense, Maiara Dias.
Uh-huh.
I almost thought it was the same one. But the Philippine one and the Brazilian one, they look so alike. They're so alike. Oh my gosh.
Look
It's
like
incredible.
look alike, right?
Yeah, they look alike. See, I don't know how to copy this. Let me see if I can do it. Copiar imagem. But you
Brazilian.
know, in Brazil, because in Brazil we have a mix of cultures and people from all over too. Let me see if I can copy the Brazilian one so you can see how they are so alike. Yes.
Brazilian, I think Brazilian, Colombia, Mexico, you have similar face. I can identify if it's Brazilian or Mexican because you have similar, really similar.
Yeah, it's hard to tell because in Brazil there are a mix of people from all over the world. Like um, in the 40s came a lot of Italians, Poland. There is a city here in Brazil that there are only Poland people. It's everything. It's Polish and also there are Arabic and
Hmm.
French, Italian, Japanese. There's so many Japanese here, so many. It's incredible, and so it's a mix of everything. Okay, I found it. Um, copiar imagem.
Katrina Gray.
No, yeah, I put it here on the message. Did you see?
Uh-huh.
Okay, and the other one is Brazilian. See? Are you seeing? Can you see it?
Let me check. You look alike. I haven't
Yeah.
seen. I haven't seen
The
it.
first one is the Philippine
Philippine
and the second one is the Brazilian one. On the message, sent on the message.
message. I cannot see it. I haven't
No?
received yet. I haven't received it.
Ah, wait a minute. Yeah, why? Okay. Okay. Did you get it? Did you get it? No? I sent on the message on the chat here. Chat.
Yes, it's not here. Maybe later it will appear later, maybe when we finish our call, maybe.
Okay. Yeah. So they're very alike. In Brazil, we have people from all over the world. You know, and nowadays even more because people from Bolivia, from Venezuela, they're all coming to Brazil because of the situation, you know, in their country, especially Venezuela. It's terrible. We're going through a really bad situation there, financially, and they're coming tons of people from there in Brazil. And
Mhm.
it's pretty sad because most of them don't get jobs, so they are on the streets asking for money. So they have like
Where in
here,
Colombia?
here, no, from Venezuela.
Venezuela.
Yeah, because
Venezuela is Spanish, right? Spanish.
yeah, they speak Spanish.
But there are a lot of Venezuelan people ask. money for.
Yes, they're asking money because their country is completely broken. So they're escaping from there, and they're, it's border to Brazil, so they come to Brazil a
Why
lot.
they want to work? Try to work.
Well, because there's no work for everybody, I suppose, and there are many people, even Brazilians, there are many people who are unemployed right now.
I
So
get.
it's a pretty sad situation, but I think, can you imagine how desperate they are to come here and to be under such situations, and like asking for money on the streets?
So
Because,
your Brazilian and Venezuela are close. You mean you have close?
yeah, it's border. I'm gonna send you here the map.
How how many hours it? How long does it take by plane? Because Philippines to Korea, it only takes 4 hours by plane. It's quite very close.
Yeah, well, I mean, Venezuela is border to Brazil, with Brazil. Like, it depends where you are in Venezuela. You just can, get into Brazil right away. I'm gonna send you the map here so you can see.
Oh, that's quite interesting.
Yeah, it's right on north of Brazil. So it's Venezuela and then the Brazil, right?
How about Mexico?
Well,
Mexico.
Mexico is a little bit far. It's more on the Central America.
So now Venezuela, because I'm curious, well, you know why? Because I have friend before. She's also from Venezuela, and she's really tall and beautiful face, and she also married with Korean guy. And now I couldn't contact her anymore because when I called her, she never accept my calls, and I'm not sure if she's still here in Korea. And
Uh-huh.
she speaks also English well, and yeah, I wondered if she's from Brazil and Venezuela, if their country is broken. So I don't know about their family. What happened?
Well, can't you find her from on Facebook or Instagram? Have you looked for her? Because that's
Yeah,
the best way to find someone.
I lost her phone number, and I only have contact with her only phone and Kakao Talk, but I lost her phone number, so I couldn't reach her anymore.
So
Where
do
is
you
she?
know her last name?
Her name? I also forgot her name.
Yeah, because well, if you know her last name, you could, track
Yeah.
her on
Ah,
Instagram.
I remember. Andriana, maybe Andriana,
Adriana.
Andriana.
Adriana.
Yeah, and she's really tall and beautiful, perfect face, and yeah, she also mentioned before about their family that they are suffering, but I'm not sure if she's still here in Korea. And
Mhm.
so now the Venezuela country is no more economy or definitely locked down or broken.
Mhm. Yeah,
What?
it's complete. They're completely broken. Their president is just horrible.
Oh my God, so sad to hear that.
Yeah, so there are millions of people just running from Venezuela.
Oh my goodness. I can relate because I have friend from Venezuela.
Hmm. And there are people from Haiti, a lot of Haiti from Haiti who came to Brazil too. I mean, when they are not, they start to starve in their country. They think that everything's going bad, and then they try to go to someplace else. And so Brazil is a mix of everything. There are Italians here and Japanese. There is a neighborhood in São Paulo. It's called Praça da Liberdade. In English would be like Liberty Square. It's there are only Japanese and Chinese people there. If you go there, you can find how cute. You can find
I mean, he's trying to, but Himshan, can you be quiet, please?
Let me say hi to him. Where is he?
Say hi. Say hi.
Hey,
Oh,
hi.
hi.
How are you? So cute. What's his name?
Himshan.
Himson.
She's Himshan. She's my daughter's nephew.
Oh, Himchan. Hi, Himchan.
Himshan, 안녕하세요. 안녕하세요.
How do you say hi in Korean or Philippine?
안녕. Also hi or
Hi.
kamusta, kamusta, kamusta po, kamusta. Yeah, on hi. Yeah, same. Because usually Filipinos speak English, so most of the time when we greet people, we always say hi, hello, how are you, or
Ah, cool.
so
So
yeah,
oh, you said this. You speak to him in Korean or in Philippine?
Korean, of course. I speak Korean to my daughter or English sometimes, and most of the time when I have a conversation to Korean, I have to speak Korean because
Oh,
they don't understand if I speak English.
yeah, but your nature, your
Imo, kaba? Huh?
yeah,
My
but
language
my
is
your native English. Oh, your native language is
Bisaya.
Philippine. Bisaya,
Philippine. Mm-mm.
Philippine. Yeah. So don't you want
Bisaya.
to teach them how to speak in Philippine?
No, not at all. Just only a few words.
Mm.
Yeah, because I don't have time to uh, teach every time, even though English. So yeah, what I'm comfortable with. So yeah, I have to speak Korean all the time.
Oh, that's interesting because when we, for example, if there is a couple and if the guy is Brazilian and the woman is American, for instance, they usually, when they have kids, they teach both languages, like their native language, Brazilian, that would be Portuguese and English. And but even if they live in another country, but that's interesting that you are not teaching them your native language, because usually what people do, they speak their native language at home and then at school they learn, the other language from the country.
Because before we live with my mother-in-law, so I have to speak Korean all the time. So I don't have time to speak my daughter in my native language because I have to learn from her also Korean. Because
Oh,
my Korean is really bad, so I have to improve my Korean. So I try to communicate Korean. So if they understand me, and then I have to catch up what they're saying. Okay, and yeah, I got used to it to speak Korean all the time whenever I speak to Korean people. But if I talk to my native Filipinos, I have to speak my native language. And if to a foreigner, I have to speak English. So keep always switching all the time.
polyglot. You are polyglot.
Yes, so sometimes when I keep talking to my native language, I switch back to my native accent. So yeah, I have to keep moving and keep uh, talking to foreigners because here in Korea, only few Korean can speak English, even though students they understand. But when you speak English, they reply or in Korean. Yeah,
Oh, really? They don't want to strive to speak in
speak
English.
English. Yeah, and then yes, because I teach English here. When I talk to my student, I have to speak English all the time. I don't speak Korean in my class, but when I speak to them, they respond me in Korean.
And let me ask you, how is your Korean now? You said that you've been there for 8 years, you said? Is
Yeah,
that
yeah.
it?
My
So
my
how
class
is it?
now I think 60% maybe.
60 only? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, because I still don't understand if having a discussion really deep topic, I
Uh-huh.
don't understand. But
It's a light language then, huh?
I can communicate, but still I'm having hard time to understand, to catch up what they're.
Wow. Yeah, that's a hard language to learn, I bet.
Hmm. And also the writing is really very unique, and the structure of their sentence is really opposite. Because in the Philippines, we are our structure of our sentence is similar with English, so it's easy to understand. But
Uh-huh.
Korean subject, subject, no, no, verb, subject, object. It's
All mixed up.
so it's really difficult to study, especially for beginners. But if you got
Uh-huh.
used to it, yeah, it's really interesting to learn Korean.
Uh,
Mm.
wow.
And when you
Yeah.
speak Korean, when the people heard you when you speak Korean, they're really surprised. Wow, you can speak Korean.
Okay,
Right?
let's finish here because I need to get back to work.
What time do you work today?
Well, I work all day, but we have
10,
some
10 p.m.
more.
and 10 a.m. You will start
Yeah,
10.
yeah. Well, I was working already. I made a break just so I could talk to you, but I'll go
Oh,
back to work.
thank you so much for your time. Yeah. And yes, whenever you have free time, maybe you can join us for a while in our live weekly meetup to.
Yeah, at least for 30 minutes. I'll try. I'll try to
Yeah.
get up earlier on Saturday so I can join you and all the group too.
So yeah, have a good day and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Lynn. It was always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure talking to you. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, bye bye.
Bye. See you.
Yeah, see you.